Hello and welcome back to another Warlords of Draenor lore video. This time we're going to be talking about Killrogg Deadeye. And Kilrogg is the chief of the Bleeding Hollow clan. The Bleeding Hollow clan are located in the Tanaan jungle, and they practice a very, very dark and twisted form of shamanism. In fact, when they are inaugurated, well, one of them is inaugurated as the clan chieftain, they undergo a ritual in which they gouge out their own eye and receive this vision of death. It visually looks quite cool. You can see it in a part of the trailer for Warlords of Draenor. It's very violent and definitely sort of is reminiscent of some earlier cultures in human history. So when they rip out their own eye, they get a vision, and it's a vision of their own demise. And basically, based on this vision of their own death, that sort of guides how they lead the clan in war. Definitely a very pain-minded and bloody way of doing things, I must say. Don't really want to run into these guys late at night. Currently, the clan is located, well, currently in our current Burning Crusade times, the clan are located partially in the Fell Horde, where they are in Zethgor, and partially on their own in Terracor Forest. Essentially, they got kind of split up after the events of Warcraft 3 and stuff like that. So let's talk about Kilrogg himself. Well, he led the Bleeding Hollow clan during the First War, and while he was definitely a violent orc, he was not a stupid one. The older orcs, you see, tended to be a little bit more wise than their younger counterparts, and to this end he ended up having 3 of his sons and 2 of his grandsons killed. This was mainly because they thought they could rule the clan better, and because of that were undermining his leadership and causing trouble. Definitely not a guy you want to mess with. So they fought alongside Cho'Gall and the Twilight's Hammer clan in the First War, and in Stormwind they suffered an overwhelming defeat at the hands of the humans. Both himself and Cho'Gall blamed each other for the incident, and this schism was actually becoming large enough to threaten to break up the Horde. There was definitely, I suppose, a good chance of these guys ending up fighting for each other, if not for Gul'dan. Gul'dan stepped in, and he appointed Rand Blackhand as the war chief. Now, as we know, Rand Blackhand wasn't really the strongest he wasn't really that strong of will, and honestly, he was more of a puppet leader than anything else. He didn't really do a lot of things without Gul'dan somehow influencing him. So the clan was also involved in the Second War, and after storming through the Dark Portal and all that sort of thing, they ended up being positioned in Khazad-Mudan, where they were holding the region against the Alliance, thus ensuring the Horde's supplies of ore and oil. So as we know, the Horde did lose the Second War, but it was really not to do with Kilrogg. What happened is that up in the north, Gul'dan essentially, he decided that he wanted to go and find the Tomb of Sagaris, which was a tomb of an avatar of Sagaris, which is located in the ocean. So he actually, instead of continuing the fight, Gul'dan took a large section of their army and went off finding for this. And this caused Ogrim Doomhammer to follow him in pursuit with his own men, well, orcs. And this was essentially more of an honor-based thing, and that it was very dishonorable what Gul'dan did, and in the orc culture, that was the sort of thing they needed, he needed to be brought to justice. This whole thing, though, caused the front to collapse, and it ended up losing them the war. So while it wasn't a great tactical decision, Kilrogg did agree with Blackhand because Gul'dan had been very dishonorable, and they are orcs, and orcs are very honor-based. So after their defeat and the closing of the Dark Portal, Kilrogg actually managed to escape the Alliance forces rather impressively, and he avoided capture for about 2 years. Now, some of this stuff here is from the Warcraft 3 manual, so it's perhaps a little bit, it's the sort of thing that could be retconned at any point. So he was eventually summoned to the Dark Portal, where he found Terran Gorfind, and Terran had reopened the Dark Portal, and the orcs had been unified under the leadership of Ner'zhul. Along with Grom and Kargath, they led the charge back into Azeroth, where they were able to take some items of power which Ner'zhul would need to help open his portals. Ner'zhul's plan was, of course, to open the many different portals in Outland, in Draenor, and this is what would eventually cause it to turn into Outland. The arcane sort of energy from the Twisting Nether is what destroyed the planet. So I suppose, in a way, Kilrogg was partially responsible, because him, Grom, and Kargath did go back to get these various different items of power that was needed. So on his way to Black Temple with Terran and Ner'zhul, this is at the point where the Alliance expedition were on the planet, they decided, much to Kilrogg's unease, that they should stop and rest in Arcanuadon, which is in the Terracor Forest, and it's the place where Shadow Labyrinths and places like that are located. So they were eventually attacked by Alliance forces led by Danath Trollbane. Kilrogg held the Alliance forces off for long enough for Ner'zhul to escape, and he was eventually killed by Trollbane in single combat. And that's really where this character's story ends. He was quite honourable, he fought in a few wars, he was killed by Trollbane. That's I guess that's really it. Now, in Warlords of Draenor, he joins Iron Horde and is one of the characters that we'll most likely run into and deal with. And we're going to be meeting him 2 years before all the Demon's Blood stuff goes down, so he's still his kind of original dark shamanistic styled self. No Demon Blood involved. But anyway, I think overall he's a pretty interesting character, actually, and his clan definitely seems very interesting with this whole dark shamanism kind of vibe going on. For some reason, it reminds me a little bit of, like, the Mayans and the Aztecs and the way that some of the shit was really violent. So, yeah, cool stuff. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and comment and all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time.